Good day again from historic Glengarry County. I'm Fred Cappuccino, and today's story is about our third child, William Tell Cappuccino, as recorded in Chapter 4 of that radiant and arresting book, Bonnie and Her 21 Children. One morning in 1956, we received a phone call from San Francisco. "Your son is here. Why aren't you not here to meet him?" The travel information from Japan never reached us. Noting the chronic depletion of joint bank account number 3077-44, we borrowed plane fare again. Bonnie made a lunch and was off. She found our son in a San Francisco social center where he had been put up for the night. The boy, age 6, was all smiles and keen to go along with Bonnie to his new home. We named him William Tell Cappuccino. Machiko, now also age 6, had known William in the orphanage, and he apparently knew her as well. But in the intervening year, Machi had forgotten all her Japanese, and William didn't know any English. They communicated in sign language, along with a profusion of words, each in their own language. We were not aware of any other transracial adoptions in Chicago or anywhere in Illinois. A good article came out in Ebony Magazine, March 1957 issue, about our 3 children and our experience in our first 2 churches. The first one we had been kicked out of because of adopting a controversial child, which was our daughter Machi, who was 5 years old. And this article, first of all, found us another similar family. When the article came out, a boy up in Madison, Wisconsin, took the magazine from the neighbor's house where he had seen it to his mother and told her that he knew this other boy, and that was our William. So we found a wonderful family to discuss things with. And the article also helped the blacks in the community to know that our second church was wanting to integrate and serve the people in the community. Years later, at a family reunion in New Jersey, William climbed a tall tree, taking his cousin Kathy Gentile with him. He was able to get back down, but demure Kathy was afraid to come down. Someone had to bring a ladder to the rescue. On another occasion, Kathy, trying to shinny up the trunk of a tree after William, got stuck about 25 feet up. He was secure a few feet higher on a branch, so he reached down, grabbed her wrist, and held on in midair until help came. Kathy survived to be an obstetrician. William became a high school teacher and is recently retired. All of this reminds me of a story of a man who was calling his doctor, and a little 7-year-old girl answered. "Is your father at home?" said the man. "No, he's at the hospital performing an appendectomy." "That's a pretty big word for a little girl. Do you know what it means?" "Yes, it means $600, and that doesn't include the anesthesiologist." So there you are. Now a Child Haven story. This is another Bonnie Lore account as found in the March 2012 Child Haven newsletter. Back in 1985, Bonnie was in India trying to help very poor children. An Indian friend told her, "Go down to South India." She was in New Delhi at the time. "Go down to South India. My friend Chandramoli is there. He is secretary to the governor of the state of Andhra Pradesh. They are in Hyderabad. He will help you find children." Bani went down and found Chandramouli in Hyderabad. He said, "Oh yes, madam, in my village there are some children who are too poor even to go to school. I will send someone from the state Red Cross to take you there." So the Red Cross official took Bani and a Canadian volunteer, Denis Lebec, on an 8-hour train trip. It was a local train with many stops. That's why it took 8 hours, but it didn't go out of the state. Arriving in Kadapa, they made their way to 3 villages. In the first village, some children aged 1.5 to 8 years old were gathered and paperwork signed with thumbprints. Some were orphans, some half orphans, but all were very poor. The second village also produced some children. When they were approaching the third village, an old man threw stones at them to chase them away. But when Chandramouli's name was mentioned, the man's countenance changed entirely. He welcomed them with profuse apologies. He knew the group were friends. Chandramouli had been collector in Kadapa and was well liked. With 27 children in tow, Bani caught the train in Kadapa for the 8-hour ride back to Hyderabad. The children had never seen a train before. Some of them ensconced themselves up in the baggage racks, away from the crowds of people and chickens. 6 village men came as escorts and would return to their villages. 2 women cooks would stay with the children in their new home. One boy smuggled his little polio-disabled sister onto the train with her crutches. Bani was not apprised of this dastardly deed until the train had pulled out of Kadapa station. When Bani went to look, the 2 siblings sported the broadest grins Bani had ever seen. The other, of course, Bani did the paperwork afterwards. The other Canadian, Denis Lebec, was a childcare worker by profession. He was in a constant panic about losing children on the way. He spent much of the 8 hours going back and forth in the crowded train, counting children. At Hyderabad station, they were met by a large Red Cross van that took all 41 children and adults to the balcony. The Red Cross had granted Childhaven temporary rent-free quarters in the balcony of a former movie theater. The balcony had a cement floor and a concrete railing to keep the children from falling down to the theater below. There was a concrete stairway to the outside. There were makeshift toilets outside, and the 2 women set up a kitchen outside as well. It's warm down in Hyderabad. The 27 most beautiful children in the world began an exciting adventure, especially since they could look down onto the main floor of the theater, which was a clinic, with the occasional newborn baby proclaiming her arrival at 2 in the morning with wails reverberating around the theater walls. The Hyderabad home moved its location several times and is now permanently settled in our own buildings with 203 children. The original 27 have long since graduated and are out on their own. And now, a song with perhaps a different kind of travel. Bayan Bani banks and Bayan Bani braes, where the sun shines bright on Loch Lomond, where me my true love wherever want to gay on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. Oh, ye'll take the high road and I'll take the low road, and I'll be in Scotland afore ye. But me and my true love will never meet again on the bonny, bonny banks of Loch Lomond. That's all for today. See you next time.